You ever, like, people blame shit on God. Like, if there even is a God. I'm more of an atheist today than I ever was before. I mean, the more you look into shit, the more it falls apart. I don't know. So if you believe in anything, don't question it. Just believe in it. Because the minute you start questioning it, it will fall apart. And I always hear these guys say shit like, "Oh, I broke my leg. I guess God wanted me to slow down." It's like, fuck, slow down. It's like, where do you come up with this shit, man? You know, and then something terrible had happened to somebody's kid, and then somebody else thinking they're giving them fucking loving news goes, "Well, I guess God needed your boys." Well, let's hope, you know, I don't want him needing me for any shit. Anyway, so this is a story about a guy that he kidnaps God. He actually hunts him down, and he spends his life, and he kidnaps God because he's angry at him for something. And so he catches him, and how he catches him, he covers himself with lamb's blood, right, to like attract him. Because God's like the holy shark of the universe or whatever, right? So he covers himself with lamb's blood, and then he goes out and beats a beggar, because God loves beggars, right? So he's begging, and he's covered with lamb's blood. And he captures God, and God's a stock trader, is where he actually finds him. And he says, God gives him money and says, "Hey, here's $1, you know." And the guy goes, I got something better than this, man. And God goes, "What do you have better than this?" And he goes, I'm going to see a burnt offering this afternoon, right? And so he goes, "Oh, can I go along?" You know, so God wants to go along, right? And he's a little intoxicated from the smell of the blood the guy's got on him. And they walk around into the back, and then the guy puts a rag of myrrh over incense myrrh over God's face, like chloroform, and he kidnaps him and takes him to a warehouse and ties him up and tortures him. So I'll just read a little bit about it. And he doesn't want to. Everybody just like cover your head or whatever. Luckily, we're only in a one-story building, so if the building actually goes down, we're not going to have to worry about it. Okay, so the guy doesn't know yet. Like, he doesn't know. He's not willing to admit that he's God. He's like tied up. This guy's got a stock trader tied up to a chair, right? And so, all right, let me think up. Okay, so here it is. And he's got a blowtorch. So he's also, he's taking pieces off of him. Anyway, sorry. Okay, where was the fucking torch? Okay, so Job ran the flame close to God's face, and it left a Halley's Comet trail of burnt flesh. So God's still asleep right now. He's just waking him up with a blowtorch. All right. Wakey, wakey, Mr. God. It's time to meet your makey. Job had been desperately waiting for this moment. He was a bit giddy. A lot giddy. Borderline manic, actually. "Wake up, motherfucker!" Job screamed as he punched God in the balls. "What? What are you doing?" God asked, at first groggy and then more insistent. "Where am I? What are you doing?" "You don't know." Job was happier than he'd been in years. "The big map maker in the sky doesn't know where he is? I thought you created all this." Job twirled around the room like a demented Julie Andrews. We're in that piece of shit warehouse that you built on the waterfront, the one near your homeless camp off 24th. "What are you talking about? I didn't build anything. What are you doing?" God was slowly coming around. "I'm getting ready for an offering, one that you wanted to see. A big chunk of your holy flesh in exchange for all the innocents you've killed." "I didn't kill anybody. I'm a stock trader, for fuck's sake. Let me go." The air was thick with incense, not enough to put God under, but a floating cloud of heavenly local anesthesia drifting through the air. Job walked over to a table and picked up a pair of bolt cutters, a short, red-handled pair mostly made to be breaking bike locks, and he waved them at God before sauntering back toward him. Job rolled up a desk chair and sat before his creator. He was burning bush close. "You ever see somebody lose a hand or a finger?" Job asked. "Oh, wait, what am I saying? Of course you have. You've seen lots of that, yeah? It's a shame because you did such a beautiful job making these." Job reached out and stroked God's hand. God tried to move it, pull away, but his arms were anchored to the chair, his wrists securely tied down. Job caressed God's ring finger, a gold band, knowing it was about to be lopped off and rolling on the floor. "Stop it!" the man screamed. "I don't know you. I didn't do anything. I'm not who you think I am." Job fumed in anger. "You didn't do anything?" He stood and leaned over God, shouting in his face, "You didn't fucking do anything? You're not who I think you are? I know who you are, motherfucker, and I have a beginning of the world list of your crimes. How many fucking people have you killed?" Job took the bolt cutters and chopped off the ring finger of God, the bone breaking as easily as a brittle withered branch, and as the finger fell, it disintegrated in midair, a clean cut and break, and there was no blood. "Well, look at that," Job proudly exclaimed. "Disappearing fingers and no blood." And you said I didn't know who you were? Well, fuck you. I know you. So, so luckily my faith in God has diminished greatly. So I can write stuff like that and not worry about burning in hell for all eternity.
People actually tried to argue with you about that one, and there's another one I was going to ask you the next question about. Have people actually, like, got seriously in your face about
they
that?
get angry about
like
it.
What? Like, who's, like, the biggest whack job?
They.
Just they.
You know who they are,
Yeah.
dude. No, it's like sometimes I'll get weird letters. I'm sure DH get, like, you get people that, it's like, dude, lighten the fuck up, man. You know, they read something or they watch something and then they think it's real. Like, they think it's real. Like, I don't know where they think it's real at. They'll think, like, they'll read a story or they'll see a movie or something, or they'll see a video, or they'll just some little thing. Like if DH made a little joke at me, I look back, so then I'd get a letter going, what was up with DH looking at you and calling you a high yellow? I guess you've had problems for years with him and those people. But you know what I'm saying? They run with shit like that. So then I get some guy going, oh, you fucking, that punk rock has seduced you. You were fucking, you devil worship. And yeah, it's like, I'm tying my children up and beating them at home too, champ. Anyway, so.
The blog and Twitter saying everybody wants to be a star. We got, something, just in a chat room talking just shit. Like, well, who cares? Like, who fucking cares? Like,
the only thing I like about Jay and Silent, I actually do like Jay and Silent Bob, but I love it in the movie where they actually get some money and they go beat up all those fucking kids, man. And you know what? Before the internet, I actually did that to a kid. This kid writes me a fucking letter. Like punk rock, we're not making a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're not seeing us rolling up in fucking limos here. You know what I'm? DH wasn't getting private kidney treatment. He was in a room with a bunch of people, right? So this kid writes me this fuck letter about money-making scam artist. The show. Let's just go back. The show was a $6 show with like TSOL and Black Flag, and he says we're capitalists. And and he writes me this fuck letter. At the time, I got warrants out for my arrest. Fuck, I'm living at my mother's. I got no money, and so I write him back this 7 pages, and there's tear marks on it. I'm like, motherfucker, writing this letter. And at the end, I go to mail it, and I look at his address. I go, I got his fucking address. So I get in the car and go over, man. And, huge house in a nice neighborhood, right? I fucking open the door. He's got a Geranimals on. It's like, hey, motherfucker, read this, and I'll be back to discuss it later. We can talk later. Anyway, all right. Whatever. Sorry. It's a long answer.
wow.
That was good. That was good.
That was good.
Geranimals. Whatever the fuck he's wearing. I don't know. Isn't that what they wear when they want to match their shit? I wear stretch band sweats. That's what I wear.
All right, so DH, after your buddies moved to Frisco, they basically told you to come out. There's a happening scene out there. You literally packed up what clothes you had inside your drums.
Oh, yeah. I was
Left the letter to your mom, said, going to Frisco.
going there. Was it Frisco or California? I remember. I forget.
Your buddy was, hold on.
Fred Dickerson.
I think it was Fred.
Fred.
Yeah, it was Fred.
I was smoking a joint watching the Gong Show.
That's it. He said, do you want to be on the Gong Show, motherfucker? Or you want to just watch it the rest
I
of your
think I
life?
just jerked off too. And I was 17, and the guy, Fred was like, man, this is a great scene in San Francisco, bro. You got to come up here. And I was like, man, I ain't got no money. I think I just graduated high school, and I didn't have any money. And so he said, borrow some money, get up here. You got to get out here. You got to do this. You got to. So I had saved up some money, bought this like double bass drum kit, which was not cool in punk rock. That's one of the first things Jello be up was like, lose one of those. Lose one of those.
DH, listen.
You okay to sue? Yeah, listen.
Listen.
It's okay if you sing like Little Richard, but lose one of those.
Hey, Little Richard was huge. I decided that he's a tall man.
Is he?
Does anyone want to wear that? Yeah, Little Richard used to. Okay, so we're off. all the sound.
That's okay. We can go on.
He used to go pick up young
I'm just still
punk
thinking
rock
about
boys.
your animals.
You know, little rough trade. I don't know if that's true or not. All right, let's
No, you know what?
But
I got a little Richard story too. No,
he was a big man.
No, he's a big dude.
Yeah, he's like as
Muppet
tall as
Head,
me,
too.
man. He was big. He was like big. You don't think of him being big, little Richard, but he was big Richard. All right, sorry. Yeah, go back. Sorry.
What did you have a story, a little Richard story?
Nah, it is about you guys.
And he
I'll
was
tell
in
you
the
after
middle,
this.
but he was in the middle of something. And I wanted to hear what happened.
Yeah.
So anyway, I packed up all the clothes I had in my double bass drum kit and filled the toms up with clothes and went down to the Greyhound bus station and tried to get on the. I got on the Greyhound bus. The guy was like, "You can't get all those. You got to pay extra for luggage for all these drums." And I was like, "Sir, please." I had like a bologna sandwich with an apple, I think, or something in a brown paper bag, and that was it. That was all, you know. After paying for the bus ticket, that was all the money I had. I was like, "Sir, please, sir, please." That was like the black Eddie Haskell. And so I was like, please. And he let me on, and I started for the next 6 days, and wound up in San Francisco, and then I went back.
And then the sheet metal job.
Yeah, and I got the job in a factory, and actually saved money, bought a van, and then came back.
And then that's when you met Paul. That's when you ran into Paul McKinney from SSI.
Right, yeah.
And who was one of the happening bands up there? That was like what, 76?
It was like
76?
No, it was,
Beginning of 77?
77, 70. I was like into 77.
And then that's when, because you were basically living out of the van.
Yeah,
from
no,
your
I was.
homie's
Yeah,
house.
I didn't even have any resources
Right.
to use up.
No,
so
at all.
I was just living in the van, and
then that's when Paul said, "You
Paul
get
was like,
pressure."
"Hey, you like?" They had some of these records, and he was like, "Hey, you like punk rock?" And I'm like, "No, no, I'm a heavy metal guy. When it was heavy metal, like no, like I get out and I got on some bib overalls and like very Oshkosh, and I kept telling him I was just resistant against like getting into punk rock, and he was like, "Well, have you heard the Ramones, Television, Hip Hop, blah 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 blah," and he went on all these bands. I was like, No. He said, "Have you actually heard them?"
Yeah,
and I said, "No." And so he said, "Well, come on in. You can take a shower," which was the key. Like, you can take a shower, you can have a meal, and you don't have to sleep in the van with all your drums. And he let me in, and he just turned me on to like all this music, just everything that I know even today. He turned me on to all this stuff, and I was just instantly like. I was like, "Yeah, let's go." He's like, "But by the way, we need a drummer."
Yeah.
And would you be, are you into playing drums with us? And the next, like by the end of the week, I was in their band, and we were playing at the Def Club, Mabuhay, and 10th Street Hall, and every little shit hall in San Francisco. And there it was just weird scene though, because like there was like art rock, performance art, new wave, no wave. Like sort of the beginnings of hardcore, and just like people who didn't know how to play their instruments or tune them or sing but it was just everything was just dumped in a big bowl, and here you go, and it was all cool and it was all accepted because people, it was like this was a brand new scene, so you could take a dump on stage and people go, yeah. Next.
That's kind of cult-like, how Jared was picked up. You know what I'm saying? It's like, we give a shower and food. But you have to do this.
Come on in here.
You have to fuck up kids for
there
the
was
next
some
30
weird
years of
cults
your
in San
life.
Francisco, too, that, like, I got invited to some guy's house. I was on the bus. He was like, "You ever feel like you don't relate to people?" And I was like, "Yeah." I feel like come with me, and I went to this house, and there was all these people with these wide eyes, and I had to take off my shoes, which I didn't like. So that was like, that was like kind of the deal breaker. Take off your shoes because I just, with these funky old sneakers, and they had some kind of cult thing going on, and I just ate a bunch of food and ended up leaving. I don't remember what cult it was, but I was smart enough to get the hell out of there. It's crazy,
Because one of the places you lived too, wasn't it Jim Jones? one of his offices or churches?
No, that was where we used to play.
That's where you used to play.
That we it was called Temple Beautiful.
Yeah.
And everybody played there. The Clash played there. Dills, Mutants, Plugs, X, Go-Go's. Like it was like the home of the $3.50 shows. Like you get to see 6 bands for like $3.50. $3.50. We're rolling in there. Private masseuses and chefs.
Frisco was trippy, man. There was the first time I ever saw Speed Psychosis was in Frisco. I know who it was. It was Patrick Miller, Minimal Man. I don't know if you ever get a chance to listen to a Minimal Man record, man. He was fucking out there. Ronald Reagan and I agree. It's fucking crazy. And we show up at Patrick Miller's house. We're staying at his house because you crash at people's houses or you stay at the Sammy Wong's Hotel. Sam Wong's Hotel, $11 a night for a room, man. And Sam Wong's was killer. And anyway, but I go into Patrick Miller's house and he's against the wall. Like, you see how these guys are standing here? Those guys are there, right? So Patrick Miller's like against the wall, like he's got his back against the wall, and he's pointing inside the painting, and he's got a knife in his hand. He goes, fucking down there. He's going, they're inside. Inside. And they were in there. You know what I mean? Like that's a window or something. You know, it was fucked up. And I'm like, I'm staying the night over here. Anyway.
I did a radio show with this guy, Neil Strauss. And we were going around, and there's some sex therapist lady over there, and then there's me and this guy, you know, wrote some book about the last days of River Phoenix, and the guy Neil Strauss, he asked the girls like, well, have you ever smoked crack? And we were talking about me because you know all my drug shit, and she asked her, and she was like, no. I was like, fucking flabbergasted, really, never. And she asked him if he'd ever smoked crack. He was like, well, yeah. And he said, well, there was this guy, Patrick Miller, and Minimal Man in New York. And he went on with this whole story about Patrick Miller. I was like, I know that fool. He was a, you know,
he's dead. Yeah, was.
He's dead, yeah, right. He was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of was.
A lot of was.
That's the trouble. You get a lot of was. Mm-hmm. And then the people you thought would be wasses are still worse. Or ours.
Ours.
Yeah, I'm a writer. Wasses and wars.
It's like Dr. Seuss or something.
Yeah, let's take it easy. It's big money in kids' books, man. I write kids' books.
Jack.
Yes, sir.
The actual title story in the book, Untamed.
Yeah, it should have been maybe Detamed.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah,
At
never
the
mind.
end.
Yeah, whatever. I didn't do a lot of thinking around here. Hello? Yeah, that was a joke. Yes, Untamed, yes.
How much of that was like, because like you said, it's obviously fiction and shit that you're thinking about. And a lot of violence in that one, especially the alleyway you
Yeah.
up and everything. Any of that pulled from personal street experiences?
Well, yeah. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Like, with people, we start thinking we're above animals a lot of times. Like, and we're really not. We're animals. I don't know if you're aware of that. You know what I mean? I know we're wearing clothes and shit. And we build stuff, like record stores. But we're animals, man. And people go wild fast, depending on who they're with. Like, you know, they say they'll talk about a crowd is frightening. When you get in a crowd, the crowd mentality, when all of a sudden it switches, it gets to be a real primal kind of trip, man. It gets, I don't know if you've ever been in a riot or whatever, but it gets, it's really, it's kind of fun. You know what I mean? A little bit. It's almost like you're like a bunch of gazelles running together, but you're breaking windows and shit at the same time. So it's real nature-ish. And so in the story, this businessman, and he's a big guy, but he sees himself as little. Like in little, he's just beaten down, he sees himself as little. And I used to always see myself as 5'3", 113 pounds. And like the therapist's like, hey, do you understand how big you are? It's like, yeah, I do. But I didn't, because I'd see myself as a little boy. And so in the story, this guy hooks up with this young kid. And it's really like, there's kind of like a little homoerotic kind of trip going on, but it's not. It's just animals checking each other out, you know? And he's like licking blood off this kid's knuckles. And, you know, he looks at the kid's Johnson, you know, because he's been emasculated by life and whatever. And so the longer he hangs with this wild kid, he starts becoming wild. It's like when you take a cat out of the house. If you got a cat and you let it go on the street, it becomes feral. So basically this man got with this boy, and they became, he started to become untamed. He started to be what he was. And I'll just read you a little touch of it. And so the town that they're in, it becomes a jungle, basically. And they're out like killing and ripping people off and robbing liquor stores. And anyway, so I didn't mark anything. I'm the only one that fucking didn't do any homework here. And now it's like, you know, when you're in class and like, oh, well, what do you got? It's like, I don't got shit. So, all right. Well, really.
Take your time, Jack.
Okay, yeah, do you guys want to speak? Just Darren, do you want to talk another story real quick or something?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I love when you call me Darren. It's so endearing.
Sorry.
No, it's great. No.
Sorry.
Mr. Henley.
You're right.
How about
when you get the book, you'll find out my real name, and it sounds so regal in English, like I'm the Earl of Doo-doo or something.
Okay.
Are we waiting on me? All right. Okay. I'm here. Anyway, so, no, I'll just tell you about it. I can't even find it. I can't. My glasses don't have the proper frame. Anyway, he turns wild in the book. That's what happens. And I in the story, you don't have to look at it, but it's just fuck it. Can't we just have another question or something? No, let's go on. No, go on to DH, and then I'll come back to me with something I can answer.
So DH, after playing with
It's like I feel like I'm on a fucked show or something, man. You've really done terrible things right now. I'm very angry with you. And sitting next to DH, I'm getting even angrier.
Mikhail, oh my God, Mikhail, you done it again.
Okay. All right, go on. Yes, please.
when after SSI, and then you played with somebody named Indian. Was that with the Speed Boys?
Yeah, Indian, Mr.
And Indian's the one that introduced you to the Heron.
To the Heron, Lady Heron. Lady Heron, she was my girlfriend. I lived in her.
And then basically, it was less than like, not even 6 months before, and then you ran into East Bay, and they tell me that they were auditioning your drummer, because Ted had
Yeah. I was still playing in the Speed Boys at the time, and Indian was one of those, another one, a hipster before I even knew what hipsters were, you know, and before they all moved to Silver Lake, which is close to where I live, but I was just playing in a band with him, and we used to do this funky punk stuff, kind of like pre-Chili Peppers, and ran into East Bay Ray at the Mabuhay, and he said, "Oh yeah, man, we're looking for a drummer," and I was working at a hotel building bondage beds at this giant gay hotel, and I ended up cutting my finger, and I was just like, you know what, fuck this. And DKs came on the radio, and I was like, I was really insecure. I was like, black, these guys were a big band. I'm not gonna get in this band. Probably, so why even try? Like that whole defeatist attitude of why even try? And I had this girlfriend at the time, Teresa. She insisted. She's like, they're fucking famous. You need to go. Fucking do this. And I went and killed it, slayed it.
Because it was you and Al.
It was me and Al from the
right?
Seizures, yeah.
It was between
it was
two.
like Liam and apparently a bunch of other people had auditioned. But I was one of the first guys. And it was so weird. I was like, I didn't even know that kind of thing went on, like auditioning. And still, even at the time, I was like, I'm going to go play with these guys. It didn't feel like you're going to audition for Quiet Riot or some, some producers put together these group of bands. It was like the guys, talk to the guys, and we're drinking a bunch of drink, and, like, hey, man, we got a spot open. You want to come down and check it out? It was kind of like you're just casual. Like the same way with the Chili Peppers. They were like,
right.
Flea was like, hey, man, we need a drummer. And I was like, well, I told him I'd think about it. And he was like, I was hoping you could come down at 3 o'clock today, you know, with all his wide-eyed enthusiasm. He reminded me of that little kid that was standing there. That's right. But it was just, you know, it was always casual. It wasn't like, you know, hey, like, we're big rock stars. Nobody was any better than anybody. At least they didn't have that attitude.
Right.
When Biafra would never stop talking, that kind of, that changed once we got on the road. But, yeah, I just went down and did the thing, and it was down to me and Al from the Seizures, and there was a day when Jello Biafra didn't show up, and it was me, Klaus, and Ray, and we did the audition, and I did Insight, and they were like, okay, well, you know what, as far as we're concerned, you're in. Then I had to play again with Biafra,
Right.
and
The unit.
and it was kind of a democracy, and I just got in there.
Kind of a democracy.
Kind of a democracy. It was almost one-sided. Because Biafra, you'd be on the road with him, and he would never want to get up in the morning after talking till 6 in the morning to some fanzines, you know. And and they, of course, they put me in the room with him on my first tour. I had way too much luggage, and it was just like he couldn't get any sleep. It was like, this guy ever shut up? And he didn't. And he didn't. He never shut up. Never. He just kept talking.
But I mean, once you were in, it was locked. I mean, you guys hit the ground running basically right into the studio.
Yeah. We went in. Actually, the first single I recorded was "Too Drunk to Fuck," and then for the B-side, "The Prey," and then I had to learn all the stuff, which I knew pretty much anyway, and then we started working on "In God We Trust," and kind of Plastic Surgery at the same time, because it was like those songs were like they just came together. We just took some of the stuff from
Separated albums.
the
like
EP stuff was
their first
already-
3 records, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it was all, we were playing it all. It was just like, what do we want to record?
And you were going like full board, like 3 to 4 times a week, and then working like you were bike messenger.
Yeah, I was a bicycle messenger then. I just quit my job as delivering pizza, and I was a bicycle messenger all day, and I would go and rehearse with them all night. And plus, I was still playing with the Speed Boys. So I would have like...
Yeah, but bicycle messenger at Frisco too, so that...
Yeah, right. That's like having 16 jobs on.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. But I was, you know, like I said, I was a hyperactive kid, and it was just...
It was a good fit.
You know, it was just like, hey, let's go. Next thing, next party, next man, let's go. What do you think about that, Jack?
I don't know. I'm just listening. I'm still trying to think what's going on. I'm listening to all your different jobs. I hope you're paying attention. You know, at all these fucked up jobs while I was building beds in a bondage gate hotel. It's like I bet Jason and I could sit here and just tell shit jobs all day long. You know, like if you play music, it's like playing music means you've got to get a shit job. That's what it means.
Yeah, I know.
I'm a musician. Yeah, where do you work, bro? You know, it's that kind of thing. Yeah, I've had shit jobs. Never mind.
You guys have any questions?
Yeah.
What was the real story with the Levi's commercial and Holiday in Cambodia?
The Levi's commercial.
Yeah.
That was just a bunch of bullshit. Levi's we never gave them any permission to use the record, and you know, I think they wanted it, but we never, you know, we were like, no, we didn't. Nobody ever said that. Biafra just used that because we were fighting against him in court to get our proper royalties paid to us, and that was something that happened in the past. Like, but we never gave them any permission to use Holiday in Cambodia and Levi's commercial. I think it was a Dockers commercial or something, and it was shot down the minute it was offered.
How would they use that?
I was gonna say,
Weather made or something?
A bunch of little kids in the Khmer Rouge running with Dockers on.
or a sweatshop machine. And they're running Panta outside.
It's a holiday in Cambodia. Really? Let me tell you something. Somebody offers me a commercial for money. They fucking take anything they want. They can put a fucking abolished government on a fucking Justin Bieber ad. Garanimals. I'll try them on for them, man. I like, what was that fucking Wayne Kramer? I love Wayne. Wayne goes, I've been selling out for years, but nobody's buying.
Brother Wayne.
Brother Wayne.
Wayne.
Yeah, Wayne Kramer's great.
Ooh,
yeah, but
yeah,
that's
he's
fun.
very
Yeah,
good.
I've been selling
He's
out for
very
years.
good.
It's like, and my other favorite quote is Tom Waits. He says, I don't care whose back I step on the way down. I love that shit.
It is rough at the top. Right?
Yes, please.
Okay, you gotta ask Jack a question now.
No, I don't need what else you.
Really?
I'm enjoying listening to you. I listen to me all
You had your
day
hand
long.
up.
I did. Two things. First of all, holy shit, I'm talking to one of the people that inspired me to start a band. Like, holy shit.
I can only say thank you.
You're so welcome. Second of all, do you think like, are you happy that you joined the Kennedys? Like, do you think that, would you have done it any differently, or do you think that, like, I don't know, that's a weird question.
Yeah, no. It couldn't have been anything other than what it was, and I'm grateful that like people were around to like say, hey, you know, do this, because I was like really like a little kid, and I was like really afraid, you know, because I mean, coming from St. Louis, it was not. I mean, I played with musicians in the Midwest, but like when you go out, we play in these like Lions clubs full of fucking rednecks, and this is my whole musical experience. And it's like, you fucking nigger, and you fucking this. You play good drums for a nigger, like that kind of shit. Like all night long, that would happen, and it'd be like, you know, everything would be fine. The music would be playing, but you know, fucking people get on the sauce, and just all this redneck shit came out. So like that was all I had as a template for music, live, and just be afraid and like fight or run, and like, you know, getting in the band with DKs and everybody was like fucking intelligent and smart and funny, and like there was none of that shit happening, especially in San Francisco. Now when we went on tour to like Georgia and the South and
Australia.
England and Australia, and you know, there was a whole different story.